Your business idea probably sucks. Like, statistically speaking, guys, most do, and mine might too. And that's actually the whole point of this video. I've got a business idea I've been sitting on in the travel space, and instead of just diving in headfirst and burning a lot of money like I usually do, I'm going to first let AI rip my idea apart. I'm talking about a full audit, the business plan, the target market, the ideal customers, the holes in the logic, literally everything. And I'm not just using one AI, I'm going to run this through the Powerhouse 4 with Claude, Chatgpt, Google Gemini, and Grok. I'm gonna have these 4 AI models battle it out, and we're gonna see whether or not my idea is actually good. And by the end of the video, I'll either have a validated business idea or a therapy session, but either way, you guys are going to learn exactly how to do this yourself, so let's get into it. So let me give you guys some quick context on this. I'm starting a new business series here on the channel where I'm going to build a new business completely from scratch using AI as a solo founder. And the reason that I wanted to start off with this audit here is I feel like a lot of times in the past I have gotten into different ideas without doing enough research because I'm so excited, and you build a landing page and you do XYZ, and then next thing you know, the idea ends up sucking and you wasted a bunch of different money. And what's really cool about this is AI now allows you to have all these expert advisors for almost next to no money, and by running it through these AI programs, you can figure out a lot of these painful mistakes. And I couldn't think of a better first episode than literally just auditing your idea to see if it's one worth pursuing. Now, the way this is going to work is I am going to take my idea, I'm going to use Whisperflow to be able to communicate that idea to Claude. Once Claude gives me some feedback on that idea and plan, I'm then going to run that into Grok, Google Gemini, and ChatGPT. I'm then going to take all of the criticisms that they gave based on what Claude gave to me and feed it back into Claude and see what sort of rebuttals or what sort of things that we need to figure out. And then after I do that, I'm gonna go on the Claude terminal using Cursor. I'm gonna paste in that information with a prompt that I just made with Claude, and I'm going to build a fully interactive website where I can show you guys all of these different things with this business to make sure that this is something that's worth pursuing. Now, let me give you guys the elevator pitch of what I'm going to feed into Claude. The travel industry is super, super fragmented. And as someone who digital nomaded and lives in, Asia right now, lives in Vietnam, it is the pain in the ass to find out exactly where you need to stay, booking all these different things, getting the flights, getting the cars, doing the different activities, and finding different locations that actually match what you need and what you're looking for. And my whole idea is, instead of going to Google to, get your flights and then needing to go to, travel advisor to get different activities, and like needing to go to cars to get your rental cars, like instead of having to, in booking.com to get your hotels, like instead of having to do all of this, my vision is I say, hey, why don't we make the Amazon experience of the travel industry? Why don't we get affiliate links of all of these different booking sites and all of their different listings? We put them on our site. We make it super easy to find out where you want to stay, what flights, all of that stuff, using AI to take your information and your inputs and your data to give you the exact listings and things that you're looking for. So you don't have to go through this archaic search engine of being like, oh, I want 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, oh, what are the reviews? And like, you're going through all these places, and then next thing you know, you're like 50 miles away from where you want to be. And then we can make it one shop experience where now all of a sudden you have all of this stuff on our website, almost like an Amazon. And what's really cool is, since we're using affiliates, we just get a kickback, which in the travel industry, the kickback a lot of times is around 6%. So every $1,000 we can help people spend, we end up making a $60 kickback, and we don't have to worry about returns, flight cancellations, anything, because it's all being directed through these other sites. And what I'm doing now is I'm over on Claude on the browser, not actually within some sort of terminal within Cursor. We're gonna get into that later. And I'm hitting this plus button, and then when I go to that plus button, I'm hitting research. And research is going to do a much deeper dive. And now I'm just going to tell Claude exactly what I told you guys. I just finished using Whisper, and now I went in and gave Claude all that information to research. And I said, be brutally honest. This is very important. You have to say brutally honest. Otherwise, a lot of times they'll agree with you. And now with that research mode, it's going to do a bunch of research, get back to me, and then I'm going to feed that into the other programs. What's cool is Claude a lot of times will ask you additional questions questions to get more context. And it knows that I'm making a video on this, which is funny. So it stores a lot of that different memory, but now it's asking me, okay, who are you targeting? Are you targeting luxury? Are you targeting mid-range? Are you targeting budget backpackers? It gives you all these different questions so it can formulate a better plan. And that's why I'm starting off with Claude here. I think it does the best with this. While I'm waiting on that, you guys need to know that each of these AI models have a different way of reasoning, and they also have their own deep research modes. So when you're over on Chatgpt, you can hit this plus button and hit deep research, and the same exact thing with Google. Now all of a sudden you can have deep research, and over on Grok, you can put it over into expert, and now all of a sudden it is going to do way more analysis, even if it takes that extra time. Guys, I got absolutely freaking cooked. I am kind of shocked, because I had ran this through Claude like 2 weeks ago, and I was like really committed to this idea. And it was like, yeah, this is an amazing idea. But holy crap, the diagnosis is severe, but not necessarily terminal. It just means the current formulation won't work. There's 6 high fatality risk factors all at the same time. It's saying there's legal landmines to overcome. It's saying that 50% of people aren't comfortable with booking with AI, that the people that are running this are already dominating it, that there is effectively no moat when it comes to this, and Google and these other major companies are already implementing AI and have way more data and way more money. You can't go broad and cover everything at the same time, which was kind of the big value proposition. And it was even saying from a technical standpoint, right now there's too many hallucinations for this to work. And a lot of these different affiliate APIs wouldn't really work either. And it's saying that the actual money that would be making per the booking would require 250 to 500,000 page views a month to earn $10,000. So I got absolutely cooked here. This is the difference between saying being brutally honest and doing deep research rather than just using Claude normally. And it's sort of, I don't know. I think my game plan right now is to kind of change things, put the exact prompt that I gave Claude, not this information he gave me, but put this exact prompt and sort of get ChatGPT, Google Gemini's, and Grok's opinion and sort of compare it to this. But holy crap, this is why you go through these different things, even though it's painful for me to say that my idea probably sucks. So let's see what ChatGPT says. I'm literally just copy and pasting. And all of these, I want to make sure that it's thinking. But yeah, guys, it's not looking good. And I think what I'm going to do is once I get all of the information from these 3, I'm going to feed that information into Claude, and I'm going to see if it gives any sort of update, if it changes its mind in any way based on the new information these other models are able to give. Grok only took 42 seconds. It said the idea was solid but brutally tough to execute profitably as a standalone business. It did say that Booking.com is saying hyper-personalization with AI, which is what the whole idea is going to be a big trend with a lot of Gen Z and millennials like my age that are looking to do that. It was saying the travel payouts affiliate can be a smart approach because it's low overhead, but there is a huge Shark Tank full of faster, better funded players doing 80 to 90% of what I described. So it looks like Mindtrip, Layla AI, and I haven't used some of these trip planners, so it's cool. It's able to look at these different competitors that are out there that I had never heard of, and it's also saying some of these other ones are starting to implement AI. Can't exactly find all the data. Monetization doesn't add up. Different data issues. Overall, 4 out of 10. Strong tailwinds with what people are looking for. But the execution risk are extreme. Google Gemini finished and it also gave a really big report. Once again, it's pretty negative. It was saying that a lot of times these different API calls, which is really important for AI companies, are going to end up costing too much for the affiliates to end up mathing out, especially since a lot of people may not book. And it was also saying that there's a high chance in the future that you're not even going to Booking.com or these other things, but you just have your own agent that has all of your personal information and knows exactly about you, that is data compliant with just you, which you're gonna have all these data compliant issues if you have a third-party site. So it's pretty interesting. I think it was saying a lot of the same thing that Grok was saying how it's a very competitive industry and landscape. What I like about Google though is it even gave some white label shortcuts or different advice of how you could do this if you wanted to implement it. And it gave a little bit more information about the different competitors in the space if you wanted to check them out, such as Mindtrip. And we're still waiting on Chatgpt like 20 minutes later. So 10 years later and one full coconut later, I figured we need some sort of backup plan here. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Because I think it's one of those things right now where how am I supposed to compete with these major companies? Like, I knew this idea was ambitious and I wanted to take it on, and I have a lot of personal vendetta with like a pain in all these different bookings. But it's one of those things right now, like maybe this is the best option on the table, because we're kind of getting to the point where Claude and Google and like these major companies, like how can like an average person like me who's broke be able to compete with some of these major companies? And I'm still on the belief that we can find some sort of, you know, good idea to pursue here. But I think that's why, once again, it's so important to use these different tools, because just imagine how excited I was during the whiteboard and like I had all these plans and ideas, and then it's like, wait a minute, I just like dodged a massive bullet. So it's like there is a good side to this, and it's also kind of like, oh man, you know, what is the average person even going to be able to do to be able to compete with a lot of these major companies that have that data and have that infrastructure and have billions of dollars to throw at it? You really got to find some sort of niche idea that not a lot of people are talking about, that's small enough that's not on these big fish's radar yet, is kind of what I'm coming to the conclusion to. Chatgpt finally finished, and it also gave a very similar verdict where it was saying that this is something that a lot of users want, but it's already being worked on, and trying to do this yourself would not have a broad enough moat. And it was saying the biggest hole is you are proposing to compete in the exact layer where the giants already have all the data, supply connectivity, and brand trust, and they're actively layering AI into that idea right now. So it's one of those things where this is going to take off. Some company is going to do it, but it's some major company that's already in the industry. And a lot of my travel pains are probably going to go away in the near future. I mean, it seems like based on a lot of these different AIs, maybe in the next year or two, we could have that full one-stop shop experience with just your own personal travel agent. The next step here that I'm doing is I pasted all three of those into Claude and said, hey, I'm giving you this information. I want you to see if this impacts anything. And then after I get this information, I'm going to open up the Claude terminal, and look, it's already doing it right now, and generate a whole entire website where we can view this a lot easier. It's pretty funny. It's like, did it change my mind after I got all this information? No, it reinforced it and made it worse. I mean, holy crap, dude. Claude, when you ask it to be brutal, is going to be brutal. And instead, all four models came to the same conclusions, but added 3 critical details that I missed. And then it gave a couple of different details. And then it actually generated this executive summary where I'm able to see all of this different information. So we didn't even have to make a website for this, which I'm going to just to show you guys, but it created this whole entire essentially sheet that probably people would probably charge thousands of dollars like McKinsey or whatever to do this analysis. And I just had these AI programs do the exact same things. So really interesting stuff, different upgrades that changed the analysis, revised strategic. Yeah, 3 out of 10 across all models, potentially a 6 out of 10 if you do these different ideas. So it even gave different ideas that we could potentially implement if this is an idea that you really wanted to pursue. But I don't think this is an idea. I think I have a better shot at getting a job at McDonald's than, who knows anymore, maybe I get replaced in robots there pretty soon too. But yeah, really cool stuff. And now let's build the website. For this, I'm literally going to ask Claude, because it already has all the context in this browser, hey, can you give me a full prompt that I can copy and paste into Claude on Cursor so that I can build out a website and show my lovely viewers that are watching my dream die on this video. And yeah, what it should do now is give me a whole script. I'll open up Cursor, post that in, and then I should be able to show you guys a website. Just like that, I now have this whole entire prompt. I'm going to copy that, and then I go over into Cursor, which is where I have Claude. and I said, hey, I'm gonna make a new website, give me the different folders I need. I'm going to copy and paste this, and now it's literally going to make a whole entire website to easily show everyone. And what's kind of crazy as I was thinking about this is maybe a business idea is just literally making a site that does all of this to where people don't need all these subscriptions. Because like right now I had to have a Grok subscription, which is like X premium, so that's like $20 a month. And then I also have to pay $20 for Chatgpt, and then Claude is also $20. Gemini was free, so I don't know. I think that would have a higher likelihood of passing than this travel idea. But let's see what website it's able to essentially one-shot here. So it completely mistook. I should have read the prompt, but it ended up building the exact website that I was talking about. I was just thinking, hey, like, let's make a report and like show this in a cool visual way rather than just that document that I showed you guys. But it literally made a whole entire site that was exactly the idea that I was pitching. So pretty insane. Like it came up with the branding, the colors. It has Phuket, Thailand. Like it was saying, oh, you have 7 nights. Like I want something with a gym required and, you know, 2-bedroom, middle seat, scooter friendly. I mean, this is insane that I just like built out the whole thing. It took 10 minutes for it to build out my idea. So pretty insane. I didn't mean to do this. And I think ultimately when 4 different AI that are the most powerful in the world are telling you an idea is bad, I think that's a good opportunity for me not to do this idea and to do something else. Well, guys, I think that was pretty awesome and successful. It didn't turn out the way that I wanted to, where it just said, yeah, your idea is awesome, but it did something way more important, which is sort of say, hey, don't waste your freaking time on this, right? And I think that if you own a business, you should also run this. And the whole idea of being able to use all these language models and have that then go back into Claude and have Claude address that new information is something super powerful that I haven't seen anyone do. And the last thing that I want to say here is that if you're someone that's into AI, you want to build an AI, you have a business, you're into investing, whatever the case is, join our free Discord in the description of this video, Jellycubes. At the time of this recording, there is 0 paid version of this group, and I'm going to be posting a lot of these different learning lessons, skills, and sort of episode updates of what I learned throughout the journey. Much love, and I'll see y'all later.